guys, today's video is yoga for runners. So I'm going to be working mainly using yin yoga today, which is great for getting into the connective tissue, what can be known as the fascia, which gets particularly tight from doing lots of running. So the only things you might need today are a mat and a cushion, perhaps two. So let's get started. And if you're wearing socks like I am, just popping those off, putting those to the side. So we'll begin today by taking a toe squat. As you'll see here, my toes are tucked under, I'm resting the weight onto the balls of the feet, my knees are on the ground, and perhaps using a cushion or two in front if you need to offload a little bit of the weight onto the hands in front of you. What we want to be finding here is a deep stretch in the connective tissue between the toes and the ball of the foot. And we want to be finding that about a 7 out of 10. The area which we want to be mindful of is the big toe just behind it. We want to just be checking in that that's not taking too much tension. You're not feeling anything sharp, you're not feeling anything tingling there, to know that you're staying here safe. Once you've found your position, allowing the eyelids to close, allowing the attention to draw inwards, maybe the palms rest on the thighs or that cushion in front of you. We're going to be here for one more minute. Drawing the attention into the target area, the fascia between the ball of the foot and the toes. And if it does help you, use the breath. Use those deep inhalations to create space. And deep exhalations, perhaps to go a little bit deeper or to simply let go and relax. There doesn't have to be any specific focus on the breath in yin yoga, but I do find that it can feel helpful to help the body relax that little bit deeper. Just another 15 seconds here. And this is probably the toughest pose that we're going to be doing today, so rest assured that what's to come is a little bit easier. Taking a final few long, deep breaths. And then once you're ready to gently unraveling, we'll move on to all fours. And we're just going to be here for a few moments as we slowly tap the tops of the feet onto the mat. And this is just to relieve any tension that might have built up. Next target area is going to be the quadriceps. So we're going to firstly bend into the left knee, take the right leg out in front of us, and the distance between the knee and the leg, it's perfectly fine for them to be right together, to be wide apart, whatever works for you. Maybe taking another cushion, planting it behind you if you want to go a bit deeper. What we're trying to find here is a stretch into this left quad, maybe the hip flexor, which is the region at the top two. Option is to take the forearms onto that cushion behind you, or even come fully onto lying on your back. We're going to be holding this for 2 minutes on each side. So option now to go that little bit deeper, allowing the eyelids to close, the body to completely relax. Drawing the attention into that target area, the front part of the left thigh. And if this still isn't enough, what you can do is you can bend into the right knee or even catch the right shin with the hands and interlace them in front. Ensuring that you've got that target area, but it's also safe into the knees. They're our vulnerable area in this pose. If that helps you too, drawing attention into the breath once again. Noticing the body settling into the mat. Just another minute here. Possibly allowing the body to go that little bit deeper. But most importantly, allowing the body to relax so the muscles are disengaged. We're working here into the connective tissue, the fascia, and that can only be done when the muscles are disengaged, so we're not holding on here into the quad. We're letting go. Gravity's taking us deeper. For our final 20, 30 seconds, breathing here deeply. We're going to slowly unravel. So coming back up to seated if you were lying down. And we're going to switch sides right away. So this time, left leg is straight out in front of you, right knee is bent, the heels tucked in towards the body. You're lying on the mat, if that's appropriate. Of course, you've also got the cushion, which you can place behind you, maybe the forearms onto there. Finding that position which works for you, remembering as well, you've always got the option to bend into the left knee, maybe catching the hands around the left shin. Wherever you get to, allowing the eyes to close, for the body to relax, for gravity to take you deeper. And what you might notice here that the two sides of the body are quite different. I'm not as open on this side, that's perfectly fine. Nobody's completely the same on both sides of their body. So that means that different sides can mean slightly different variations of the pose. And like on the other side, being mindful of the knee joints. Settling deeper into the pose. Another 30 seconds here. Perhaps going that little bit deeper. But aside from that, unless you're moving to go deeper or to come out, we want to be keeping still so that we can really work into that connective tissue. Drawing attention to that target area, noticing the sensations into the quad. And then once you're ready to, we're going to take both palms of the feet to the ground. The knees are facing upwards, and we're going to take the knees into the chest, giving yourself a little hug. When I'm here, I like to cross over with the ankles. I find it feels really nurturing, maybe swaying from side to side or up and down, whatever feels good. And then once you're ready to, we're going to place the left palm of the foot on the ground. We're going to begin straightening into this right leg. And we can keep a little bit of a bend in the knees here, and hands are interlaced behind the right thigh. So I hear it all the time from runners who come to my classes, that they're tight in the calves and the hamstrings. So this is an amazing pose which helps you work into both. And what we're going to begin by doing here is taking the toes away and towards the face. This helps to intensify it into the calf. And we'll do 3, 4, however many you need of these. And then we'll come into stillness and work deeper into the hamstring. So when you're ready to, no rush at all. Remembering you can keep that little bit of bend in the knee. Also, if you're super flexible, you've got the option to take either the big toe with the fingertips, hands around the foot, or you can take a tea towel or something and wrap it around the foot, bringing the foot a little bit closer into the body. Shoulders here are relaxed. We're finding that stretch into the hamstrings, 7 out of 10. Noticing where it is that you're feeling this stretch most intensely. Option is to straighten out with that left leg. Trying to keep the hips relatively square. Finding that deep hamstring stretch, but remembering that we don't want to feel any pain around the kneecap. No pulling, no sharp sensation. So if any of that happens, just gently come out of the pose. Gently bringing the awareness back into your positioning, and maybe just gently swaying the leg from side to side, and this will Work a little bit into the IT band and the glute, but just gently. We'll go into that a bit more intensely in a moment. Anything here which feels good. And then bending once again into that left knee if you straighten the leg out. Placing the right foot over the left leg. Interlacing the hands behind the left thigh or the shin. And drawing the right knee forwards. So here we're finding that stretch into the right glute and the IT band. An area which, if you do a lot of running, cycling, anything like that, tends to become really tight. Once you've found that target area, allowing the eyes to close, the body to relax. We'll be here for another minute and a half. Any variations of this pose are welcome, of course, too. Different body types need slightly different variations. No whole yin practice or no whole yoga practice, in fact, works for every single body type. We're all built differently. Drawing the attention inwards. And trying only to move if you're needing to go deeper or coming out of the pose. Aside from that, we want to be finding stillness to surrender to the pose. When we work into the glute and IT band area, we're stimulating into the gallbladder. This is based on traditional Chinese acupuncture theory. And by that I mean we're sending energy there. As meridians are the body's invisible energy channels. And the clever thing with yin yoga and acupuncture is we're able to use these to stimulate into our organs through working into certain muscle groups. When you're ready to, we're slowly going to unravel right foot onto the ground. Maybe swaying the knees a little bit from side to side, anything which feels good. And noticing the difference in the two legs before we move on to the other side. And then once you're ready to, no rush at all, right foot placed into the ground, left leg to extend. Remembering you can always have a bit of a bend in this knee. And what we can do is interlace the hands behind the thigh and draw the toes towards and away from the face for a few moments to deepen that stretch into the left calf. Noticing any subtle differences between the two sides, but also ensuring that we're not feeling any aggravation around the knee joint. You might notice some cracking here. I normally do. The only reason I haven't is because I've already done these today. First time I do these each day, there's a lot which goes on. And then once you're ready to, finding stillness into that left leg as we work into the hamstring. So hands are remaining interlaced behind the leg. Remembering you've always got the option to straighten out with the right leg. Anything which works here is what's right for you, what's helping you to find that deep stretch, yet safe stretch into the left leg. Shoulders are relaxed, eyes are closed. We're completely surrendering to the pose. We'll be here for another 20 seconds, finding this stillness. The muscles are disengaged so that you can take the knee a little bit closer towards you. Straight legs do work for some people, but not for everyone. And then an option here is to gently sway the leg from side to side, bringing some attention, some intensity into the IT band and the glute, maybe even all the way up this left side of the leg. Tune into the body here, noticing what feels good or what doesn't. And then once you're ready to, left ankle is going to come over the right bent leg. We're going to be slowly finding that kind of parallel direction of the leg. It might not be completely parallel to the front of the mat, but when we found it, what works for us and the knee's safe. We're going to interlace the hands, drawing the leg in towards us. Remembering we have some modifications here. We can use the thigh. We can even just have that right foot onto the ground, and sometimes this is enough for people. It doesn't matter what the pose looks like, it's about how it feels. Once you've found that variation, we'll be here for another 1.5 minutes, allowing the body to completely surrender. Any tension you might be holding in the shoulders, allowing that to subside. Finding depth in the pose, maybe using those inhalations and exhalations to go deeper. Noticing any shifts in the body. Any changes between the two sides. Always being mindful of the kneecaps, beginning to understand your own body, its own needs, its own limitations. Nearly all of us have some kind of limitation, it's perfectly normal. But there'll always be modifications for those. Just a little bit more time here. Maybe going a tiny bit deeper for the remainder of our time. And then once you're ready to, we're going to unravel. We're going to take the knees into the chest, another little hug. And this time we're going to be rolling up and down the mat. I like to do this with my hands underneath my thighs, but any way which works for you is fine. You don't need to come completely up. You can use the hands to support you. But we're going to be coming onto all fours next. So if you have the momentum to, allowing the legs to come in front, cross-legged, and then stepping the feet back, finding all fours. Sucking the belly button towards the spine, pushing the fingertips into the ground. The toes can be tucked or untucked. We're going to arch with the spine. We're going to be taking the gaze up. And then we're going to dome with the top of the back, gaze to the belly button. We'll do 3 more rounds of this. Inhaling again, taking the gaze up, arching into the back. Exhale, pushing the fingertips into the ground, doming the top of the back, gaze to the belly button. Finding your own breath here, flowing upwards on your inhalation, curling under on the exhalation. 1 final round. Really gently, slowly, we're going to come upright onto the knees. And again, you might want to have your cushions nearby to support you. We're going to be working into the hip flexors this time. So we're going to be stepping the left foot out in front of us, maybe placing a cushion or something, you can even just roll up the mat, underneath the right knee. So target area here is this right hip flexor. If you don't need anything under the knee though, perfect, because that makes it just that tiny bit easier. And what we're going to be doing here is flowing between this variation, placing the fingertips onto the ground, straightening into the front leg. So this can be called a hip vinyasa. It's amazing for targeting into the hip flexors and also into the hamstring and the calves when we come back. And taking these movements mindfully, maybe closing your eyes as you flow between the two. And only going to what's a 7 out of 10 for your body. And I find that when I've got my eyes closed, it stops me from noticing how I look, and it instead helps me to really tune in with how the body feels. You can also play around with tucking under or untucking the back toes, noticing any subtle differences of how that feels. We'll take 1 more on each of the 2. And then we're really slowly going to turn this left foot 90 degrees, so it's facing inwards. We're going to be turning those right toes upwards, they're pointing to the ceiling, finding outrigger posture. So we're finding this stretch into the right groin. It might feel quite intense, and if so, you can take some weight onto the hands, maybe even onto a cushion or something in front of you. So again, we're just wanting to find it 7 out of 10. If you find you feel any pulling underneath the knee, I used to here, you might want to take a little bit of a bend into the knee, or you can pad under the knee with something. So lots of variations like all these poses. I'm just going to be here for another few breaths before transitioning to the other side. So when you're ready to, we're going to be turning the right toes inwards. We're going to be lifting off of that left foot, bending into the right knee, straightening out with the left leg. Oh, my cushion's a little bit in the way. And finding this stretch into the left groin, maybe even a bit of the hamstring and calf. Finding that settled position. And there's different variations with the ball of the foot and coming all the way back onto the heel. Again, it doesn't matter what it looks like, it's about how it feels. So making sure that it's feeling safe here, but you're still feeling that good deep stretch. We'll inhale here deeply. We'll exhale here smoothly. So now we're doing the same hip flexor stretch on the back of the mat. We're planting this right foot into the mat. We're bending under, we're tucking under with the back toes if that feels okay. And we're coming upright, so finding this hip flexor stretch. Option as always is to take something underneath that back knee or roll up the mat. And like we did on the other side, we're going to be flowing through our hip vinyasa, so straightening into the front leg, using the hands to support, remembering you can have as much of a bend into the knee as you need to, and then rolling back forwards onto the front right foot. Moving between these two for about a minute, maybe closing the eyes. And this is really your opportunity to tune into the part of the leg or the part of the body which needs a little bit more of a flow into, a little bit more work. Any variations here are welcome that feel good in your body. Perhaps using the breath to create that space into the body. Perhaps using the spine to help unravel some of the tensions you might be holding. Anything goes here as long as it's feeling safe. Just one more of each of the two variations. And then we're really slowly going to take that right foot back to meet the left, rolling over onto a seated position, maybe cross-legged or anything at all which works for you. Finding the hands underneath the thighs, maybe raising the sit bones a little bit with a cushion, if that feels best. Finding a few final moments here, purely with your breath, with your body. We'll take a final breath together, where we're going to be breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. But before this, we just want to let go of all of the air from our bodies. So on your next exhalation, breathing out, letting it all out. Inhaling deeply through the nose. Opening the mouth, exhale, lion's breath. Gently flicking open the eyes unless they're already open. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. Perhaps taking the thumbs to the third eye, giving a little bit of a massage there if that feels good. Namaste to you all. Thank you. If you haven't yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, I'd really appreciate you doing that. And please tell me what you'd like to see in my next video in the comments below.